Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Kate and I love all things makeup, skincare, beauty, and fun. Today we're going to be talking about my top eyeshadow palettes for summer. When I think of summer, I think of bright colors, I think of bronzy neutrals. I love summer. Summer is my favorite. So this is one of my favorite videos to prepare for and film. If you enjoy this type of content, please give this video a thumbs up. Would love it so much if you would subscribe to my channel down below. And without any further ado, let's go. Now it's worth noting, I could have easily pulled like 20 pounds for this video. However, I wanted to keep it a little bit more curated so that I'm not A, droning on forever, and B, so that it's a little easier maybe for you guys to like pick any of your favorites, or if you have any of these palettes, to whip them out for summertime. Certainly my objective here is never to like force anyone to feel like they have to go out and buy these things. Rather, I would hope that this type of content inspires you to shop your own stash and be inspired by it and make some fun looks with your own palettes, especially for the summer, the best time of year, in my opinion. Also worth noting, I love indie makeup. Indie makeup, specifically in the eyeshadow category, is my absolute favorite to play with, to shop for, to talk about in general. So a lot of these are going to be indie. I did try to throw in a couple of mainstream items that I think are also 5-star, 10 out of 10, but I just wanted to preface this with I love indie makeup. The first one is by an indie brand that blew up last year and into this year, and it's by Blend Buddy Cosmetics. When I think of summertime, I love neons. I loved those Huda Beauty palette, the little 9-pan neon palettes. Loved them so much. I had them for years. I played with them for years. I was getting to a point where they just weren't performing for me the way that I had remembered them performing. It also like came out in the wash that they were like recalled or something. So I digress. I was on the prowl for more neons because that is my go-to in the summer. And this palette is the Surge palette by Blend Bunny, and they did not disappoint. I love all of the neon shades in here. I also love a good monochromatic look as well as an intricate, detailed, wild look. So this hits all of those boxes. So beautiful, so pigmented, so easy to blend. If you haven't tried Blend Bunny Cosmetics, 10 out of 10 would recommend. One of the best eyeshadow formulas that I've tried. This palette specifically though, with these neon shades, just look at those. Just look at those. Super opaque, super beautiful, super easy to wear, super easy to play with. I just love them. The swatches, I did a horrific job, but rest assured, absolutely beautiful. If you love neon palettes and specifically eyeshadow, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Love this palette. This next one I included, and I'm like not totally sure if it's still available. I know it was limited edition, but I'm kind of I'm hoping it is available if I'm talking about it, but B, if you have this in your collection, this is my reminder to bring it out and love on it. This is by Laura Lee Los Angeles in collaboration with Aaron Weaver, and it's the Candy Skies palette. I love this little baby. I just feel like if I'm feeling a pastel soft moment, it has that. If I'm looking for like a one and done all over the lid sparkle shadow, it has this. It has those bright, vibrant pops of color. It has really special shades like this one right here. You can clearly see a giant dent in it. I love this palette. Again, I'm not confident if this is still available, but if it is and you've been thinking about it, wondering about it, I definitely still recommend it. I know it's not a new launch. A lot of these admittedly are not new launches, but this one is just so good. I love Laura Lee's formula, and she's typically a neutral girly, so for her and Aaron to release this, I just felt like it was a really special launch, and I continue to feel like very pretty and special when I wear these shadows. 10 out of 10 would recommend. The next palette is actually a newer launch, but it has been one of my favorite launches of this year, oddly enough. Never, ever did I think I would be sitting here talking about a Too Faced palette being worth the hype, but this Italian Spritz palette, definitely worth the hype. This is such a beautiful color story, and it's super super user friendly. I feel like my only critique on this one is that for me, some of the shimmer shadows feel differently, like they're pressed differently than others. That being said, they all perform from my experience really beautifully on the eyes. The other reason that I think this palette is a standout for summer specifically is that it has those really beautiful bright pops of color, but it also has those more neutral, golden, warm, bronzy tones. So if I am feeling like I'm not really wanting to do color, or I want to do a neutral eye with a pop of color, I feel like this palette is perfect for that. Too Faced really did something with this palette. I know as a brand, specifically in relation to eyeshadow, they're not somebody that, again, I would ever have like spoken of highly in recent years, and at least the last 5 years. I would not have been like, yes, you must go out and try this Too Faced palette, because the color stories were not inspiring, the formulas were not inspiring. This one really, they really did it with this one. This is such a good palette. If you've been thinking about it, you're on the fence, I would encourage you to go play with it, or swatch it in like an Ulta or something, but I really do think you will love this palette. I love it. As I mentioned, and as you can see, I do love a neutral, bronzy, golden eye. And so if you're somebody that maybe doesn't love color as much as I do, I did throw in a couple of neutrals that have that like summer bronzy glow to them. One of them is this one by Sigma. It's their Ambiance palette. I think this could definitely be a fall go-to as well, but I think it has some of these like staple neutral colors that are just perfect for the summer. If I am going, again, if I'm going for that more neutral bronze goddess look, this is absolutely a palette that I continue to reach for in the summertime. Sigma is one of those brands I feel like gets moderately hyped, but not significantly hyped, and I'm just wondering where the disconnect is, because their eyeshadow formula is one of my favorites. It's consistently consistent. So in my opinion, and in my experience, I should say, when I buy a Sigma eyeshadow palette, I can bank on the quality being top notch each and every time. It's never like inconsistency as far as how the shadows are pressed or how they perform. Sigma just really does a beautiful job creating eyeshadow palettes. And this one, again, it's the Ambiance palette, is just perfect for those neutral golden looks in the summertime. This next one is a little bit different, but I promise I have a train of thought. This is by Adept Cosmetics, and this is their Plain Jane Remastered palette. So this one is an all shimmer palette. And I know that these absolutely are not for everyone, and a lot of the times they aren't even for me. However, I will say that when it comes to special shadows, shifty shadows, Adept does a beautiful job, and they also are another brand that I find in the last year, 2 years, I would say, their formulas are rather consistent, and I just feel like Lauren May Beauty has gotten to all of us, and she does such a beautiful job of teaching us and showing us how to use a single shimmery shadow all over the eye to have a really beautiful, ethereal, glowy look with minimal effort. And I just feel like this palette is perfect for that. Again, the special shades that Adept Cosmetics does, in my humble opinion, are hard to rival in the way that they are shifty, special, and beautiful. If you're looking for, again, that one and done, all over the eye shadow, if you're looking for that one and done, one shadow all over the eye that's super special, super shifty, I think that is where this palette is really going to shine. Absolutely, you can mix this with other palettes if you really feel like you need a matte. And I know there's definitely people out there that are like, I have to have a matte. So I totally hear you there, and I am usually that person too. But when it comes to summertime and I'm really trying to get the heck out the door so I can be outside enjoying the sun, living my best life, one and done shadows, one and done shimmers, specifically all over the lid, have been totally my vibe. Again, I blame Lauren May Beauty. I love her. I'll link her down below. If you don't watch her, what are you doing? She's fabulous. But again, this palette, 10 out of 10, would recommend. I love it. The shadows in here are spectacular. They're beautiful and they're special. And you will feel all of those things when you're wearing this palette. Guaranteed. I have two palettes by Nomad Cosmetics. They're one of my favorite indie brands. I just feel like they do a beautiful job nailing color stories, and these two are no exception. The first one we have here is, I don't think I can say it. The one we have here is Porientia Paradiso, I think, and I'm so sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Please feel free to correct me. No, correct me. Feel free to correct me in the comments. However, look at this color story. Let's get to the real meat of the subject here. Look at this color story. It's so beautiful. This is the epitome of summer, in my humble opinion. I love the brights, the neons, everything about it. This green section, absolutely stunning. If you love blues, they have such a beautiful array of blues. They have this warm orangey coral section. I just think that this palette, I didn't see too many people hyping this up. I saw a lot of like reviews when it first dropped, but I haven't seen as many people talk about it recently, and I'm just wondering like what happened here, because the formula on this one is one of their best formulas, and the color story, in my humble opinion, one of the best color stories. Again, though, I love color, I love summertime. The two, for me, go hand in hand, and so consequently this palette is just absolutely beautiful. If you have this in your collection, this is your friendly reminder to show her love, because she's beautiful. She's so beautiful and such high quality. This next one by Nomad Cosmetics is another super colorful palette. This, and again, please feel free to correct me in my pronunciation down below, because I'm sure I'm going to butcher it. But this is their Bosque Nuboso de Monteverde, and this is another absolutely stunning palette that is perfect for summer. This one is different in the way that, in my opinion, and the way that I use it, if I'm going for a super colorful look that has multiple colors that are going to blend and play well with each other, this is where I lean into this palette really heavily. Where the other one, I think, if I'm looking for a monochromatic, bright, sparkly, beautiful look, that one comes in. If I'm looking for something, again, that has more diversity as far as colors go, and I'm able to do something really neon, really punchy, really bright, and that incorporates a lot of different colors that work well together, this is where this one shines. Again, this is one of their better Again, this is one of those tried and true formulas from Nomad that I know and I love. It performs beautifully each time. It blends beautifully each time. And I love that a lot of these colors play really well together. There's certain times and with certain brands and palettes where really colorful shadows for me will start to get muddy when I try to blend them together. And certainly we have to consider color theory, right? Like, we can't expect that like this color and this color are gonna blend together and look good. But I feel like there's enough of those like transition-y shades and shades that like can lean into each other so that I can create a really bold, beautiful, colorful eye look without having a muddy mess on my hands. So 10 out of 10, love this palette. I did want to mention another more neutral, bronzy toned palette. This one is actually by ColourPop. It's actually what's on my eyes today. This is their Good as Gold palette. This one has stood the test of time as far as I go, because I've had this for at least 3 years now and I still reach for it. I still love this, and it's also, oddly enough, still on the ColourPop website, which I feel like is the bigger feat here, because I feel like they are so notorious for discontinuing beautiful palettes that they put out, and you can never get them again. This has not been true with this one, so I'm grateful for that. Again, just a beautiful, neutral lover's dream. I feel like this is the epitome of a bronzed goddess summer. I love this. I know that my eyes are very yellow today. I love yellow, but I just feel like with the mix of golds, yellows, and browns, and this nice, beautiful black here, we are able to create such beautiful bronze looks without breaking the bank. This is by far the most cost-effective palette that I'm going to talk about today. Admittedly, ColourPop is probably the #1 brand for me anyways, as far as like cost effectiveness goes, that I really enjoy and have a collection of, and this one is definitely a standout in that collection. If you're looking for a bronze goddess summer, here it is. And then you're not going to break the bank, and it's still available. Actually, I'm pretty confident this is $18, which is higher than ColourPop used to be. But if we consider the market and the economy, somehow that's good. How are we justifying this? Who knows? At any rate, I love this palette. When it comes to Glamlight, it was really hard for me to not include like every single palette because they are so well known for not only their fabulous quality, but also being so colorful and fun. So I had to like really think critically about which palettes I wanted to include specifically in this video, because coming up I am going to be going over some of my favorite rainbow palettes. And I feel like Glamlight's, there's some of their palettes that better fit into that category. So I did choose this palette. It's an oldie, but a goodie. It's their Glam Donut. The packaging is adorable, and it's like, I don't know if you can see, but it's like squishy. However, storing it, a bit of a pain in the caboose. I'm pretty confident this is still available on their website, and I'm so sorry if it's not. However, if it's not and you have it in your collection, again, this is your friendly reminder, whip this baby out because look at this color story. Just look at this color story. It's so pretty and so vibrant and fun. Glamlight, I feel like, is one of those brands that continues to get better and better. That being said, even their good formula, not their great, not their best formula, is very good and significantly better than a lot of mainstream brands, and that's just my opinion. However, I love this palette. I love that I can do a more monochromatic look, but I can also very easily do a multicolor, really bright, vibrant look because all of these colors in the color palette play so beautifully together. This middle shade I love to use as a highlight, and I also love to use all over the lid. I just feel like it really makes these matte colors pop. Love this palette, and I'm pretty confident this is one of their more cost-effective palettes. Glamlight as a brand, in my experience, in my opinion, is more cost-effective than a lot, I should say, of other indie brands. But this one I'm pretty confident is one of the more cost-effective ones. I also do appreciate that it has these two neutrally bronzy tones because it does allow me, again, if I'm looking for that bronze goddess look that I am consistently seeking in the summertime, I can reach into those. I think this palette is super cute and super underrated and forgotten about because she's a little bit older. This next palette is by Unearthly Cosmetics, and this is their Strawberry Milkshake palette. This is just such a cute, colorful, I just love this. Such a cute and colorful story. If you don't know, I love pinks and I love greens and I love purples. Those are my top 3 colors. That being said, I love all colors, but those are my tops. So you can see how this palette and I would get along really beautifully well. I really feel like they did such a fabulous job of like capturing a strawberry milkshake in this palette. This pink is absolutely stunning. The shimmer is absolutely stunning. I love this formula. 10 out of 10. If you don't like pinks, you don't like greens, this color story is not for you. Totally get that. If you love the pinks, if you love the greens, 10 out of 10, you're gonna love this palette. Unearthly is one of those brands too that I feel like I see some of my favorite content creators talk about, but as a whole in the beauty community, I don't see a ton of people talking about. I love Unearthly Cosmetics, one of my favorite indie brands, and I love this palette and I cannot wait to play with it more this summer. The last palette I want to talk about is by far the most expensive palette that I have to talk about today, but it's also arguably one of my top 3 palettes of all time. This is by Natasha Denona and it's her bronze palette. This, again, is one of those that could be arguably one of the better fall palettes as well. However, again, when I think of summer, I think of glow, I think of bronze, I think of golds, I think of like coppery oranges, and this has all of that. I have seen critiques of this palette saying that folks get a very similar eye look each time they use this, and while I can absolutely see what they're saying as far as like they're all in the same color family, I do not find that to reign true for me. I do find this to be pretty versatile. Of course, you're always going to get like a bronze look, and that is, in my opinion, that's kind of to be expected, hence the name. But I love this palette in the summertime. Natasha Denona's formulas are some of the very best as far as eyeshadow goes, and this is no exception. I would argue that this is the best palette that she's ever put out. I will have a Natasha Denona ranking coming soon to my channel, but I love this palette. If you have this, you have to, you gotta trust me, you gotta take her out, you gotta show her love. She, again, like most of the palettes in this video, is not a newer release, and so I feel like it's so easy to get caught up in those newer releases and forget about the absolute gems we already have. But this is your friendly reminder to bring her out and show her love, because you're going to feel like a goddess every time you wear these eyeshadows. This palette is so perfect. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Please let me know what palettes you are most looking forward to playing with this summer. If I did not mention some of your favorites, I am always happy and eager to chat with you in the comments about what your favorites are and new and fun things I should try out. As always, again, thank you guys so much for being here and spending time with me today. I would love it so much if you would like this video, subscribe to my channel down below. As always, please stay happy, stay healthy, and stay blessed, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.